iron. So all the techniques here are the first century techniques. Now, as you were walking in, you probably noticed those big rocks in the wall. That's limestone. It's the common rock found in Israel and used for building. Just like this here, you know, it was worked on. This is also limestone. All these columns are out of limestone. Now, the windows outside, if you notice, they're very small and narrow. And on the inside, they're very wide, you know, to allow as much light as possible to come in. And also to keep the place cool during the summer and warm during the winter. And that way, they also build it up high, probably, you know, towards the ceiling more, so that people, you know, who were passing by, they couldn't see what's going on inside the house. So they didn't like people peeking in. Now, the roof would be built with 3 layers. First layer would be a muddy cement. First century cement would be, you know, mud with straw. And then the second layer, they would have dirt, dry soil, you know, to absorb all the rainwater. And then the third level, again, would be that first century cement, the mud and the straw. And then they would lay the cane, and over that they have the cypress tree beams. And all those layers, they would roll with a heavy rolling stone to make it all even. Okay? So that's how they built the synagogue. And this synagogue was recreated from the remains of 2 synagogues that were ruined, but they were found in Gamla. Okay? Now, the synagogue itself wasn't always a religious place. Okay? So we know that during the week, people would gather here for school. Kids would come here to study. And then it would also be a courthouse throughout the week. Unlike today, because today the synagogue is only a religious place, but there it was a public place also. Now, on the Sabbath, we do know that they did come here and they prayed, they read from the Torah scrolls, and the scrolls usually throughout the week, they would be stored in jars of clay and put away in storage rooms, just like this one that we have here, you know, throughout the week. Now, on the Sabbath, there would be 7 readers, and the 6 of the readers, they would read from a weekly Torah portion. They were appointed. They knew what to read. Okay. Now, the 7th reader, he was given freedom to read from where he wants to. Now, we know that Jesus, when he started his service, it was here in the city of Nazareth, just like I said, in the synagogue. And when he came, he was that 7th reader. He was given that honorable position, the more honorable position. And when he opened the scrolls, we know that he read from the book of Isaiah, and he read from the place where he said, that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and he has anointed me to preach the good news, to heal the blind. And you remember when Jesus read that passage, when he closed the scrolls, and he sat down, all the eyes of the people were upon Jesus. And they were looking at him, waiting for what is he about to say. And what did he say? He said, these things that you hear today, they have come to pass. And everybody was amazed, because they knew that this prophecy was about the Messiah. And everybody was just amazed and asking each other, is this not the son of Joseph, the carpenter? Now, Jesus, after he said that a few moments later, he also told them 2 stories. And all that happiness and joy about the Messiah disappeared, vanished. Why? They were very angry with him. They wanted to drive him out. So let's just remind ourselves of these 2 stories. One of the stories was about Elisha and Naaman the Syrian. Naaman, who was a leper, he had leprosy, so he had a skin disease he cannot be free from unless you have a miracle. So Elisha tells him, you go to the Jordan River, you bathe 7 times, and you will be healed. So he does that. He goes and he bathes 7 times, and he was healed because he believed. Now the second story is about Elijah the prophet. And Elijah, during the time of famine, the Lord led him to the desert and says that you'll be fed by a widow, because you should find her. And he did. And when he came, he said, well, can you bake something for me? And she said, well, I only have this much of flour and this much of olive oil for myself and my son. And after we bake this, we're all going to die of starvation. He said, well, if you listen to me, the Lord is going to provide for all of us, and we're going to survive this famine. And we know that she did. She baked something for him, and they had just enough to survive the whole famine. And it was a great miracle because she believed. Now, why were the people so angry with Jesus? Because all those people that he was talking about, these 2 stories, they were Gentiles. They weren't Jewish. And the Jews did not accept that because their expectation of the Messiah was somebody who was going to come and is going to literally set them free from the Romans. Because they were under the Roman oppression, and they wanted their Messiah that they expected to set them free from that. But Jesus' message to the Jews was totally different. He told them that the salvation that they so wanted He said the salvation is not just for the Jews, it's also for the Gentiles. And it's not just literal salvation from the Romans, it's a spiritual salvation. And they did not receive that message at all. It wasn't what they expected. And that's why they drove Jesus out of the synagogue. And they wanted to stone him, throw him off a cliff. But we know that Jesus just walked through them, because that was when he started his ministry. He was probably very agile. He walked through that big crowd. Now here in Nazareth Village, we chose this olive lamp, to be our symbol, because it represents light. Now, this is the end of the tour, and I really want to thank all of you guys for coming here. So as we go out, I want to give each and every one of you this gift of an olive lamp to remember and to all the things that you have heard here and learned, so that this olive lamp can be a reminder for you to be the light of the world and to carry those with you that Jesus has brought here. Thank you very much.
By the way, I think I have to mention that Yossi is a Jew. And he's, can we say converted to from Judaism to Christianity, or what do you say? You don't say that way, no?
No, I never
You're a
converted.
Messianic Jew.
Yes, I'm a Messianic Jew, but it's just
Yeah.
the only thing that makes me a bit different is just I have my father.